Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. Kind of. It's not morning anymore. Like, I think a lot of people find themselves seeing both sides of the extremities of a moral dilemma as the same. And when you do that, you're disregarding all of the things that have someone choose a side. Like everyone who chooses a side is in a very different place than the person who's looking at it from the outside. You don't have the context for those experiences. Are you still troubled by these kinds of thoughts? You are right to be. You have been told comforting stories about goodness and justice and truth that supposedly put these worries to rest. Yet all those lessons you learned, something about them just doesn't seem to add up. Something important. Something is wrong. Deeply wrong. Have you ever heard that nothing is true and everything is permitted? This book could be distilled in those 7 words. Like, I'm wondering if this book is going to flip the perspective of this. Is the idea that nothing is true and everything is permitted going to become a accepted analysis of nihilism in our 2020 year? Because I think I would be excited to learn that someone has a solution for the feeling of falsehood as opening or allowing or permitting. I'm only on the 2nd page and I'm already trying to establish what my perspective on this book is, which you should never do. This book could be distilled in those 7 words. The first part of this book is about value. We can never get true judgments about what is good or bad or evil. The only guidance we receive is from ourselves, so everything is permitted. I was reading it as a personal voice, or establishing a kind of satirical lens to the intro of this novel. But I'm thinking this is coming from the more I read, the more I feel like this is coming from a perspective of a nihilist. This book argues for nihilism, a label that I happily adopt. It denies that alright, so this person is a nihilist, most definitely. A label that I happily adopt. It denies that we can have knowledge of either value or the world, and that talk of objective morality or reality is meaningless. So this book coming from the perspective of a nihilist is interesting. I am starting to feel like it's very individualistic, and it's coming from a perspective of someone who is greatly simplifying the politics around them, the moral relativism that this person is implying exists. If that's their selling point on nihilism, you can call me out. They're useless if they are buried in a haystack of irrelevant thoughts, or if no one without 6 years and $200K worth of university education can understand the words used to express them, or if the person writing is unable to follow them to their conclusion. Okay, so they're already kind of asking me to follow them to their conclusion, so we'll read to the thesis of this page, and then I'll let you read on your own from this book. I might hop over to a different... Hello, I'm reading today, so instead of sketching, I'm reading a book called Nothing and Everything: How to Stop Fearing Nihilism and Embrace the Void. I've read 3 pages, and as I've gotten through the first 2, I'm consciously getting less and less thrilled about the perspective of the book. But yeah, I just read the first 3 pages, and I'm gonna start reading into the next few. I'm trying to get to the thesis of this book, and then I might read something else or play a game or do something. Feeling a tinge of satire here, but they've already proclaimed themselves as a nihilist, as a person who believes everything is kind of futile, and that's a simplification, but they've done plenty of simplifications, so I'm interested in seeing where this... Okay, so that was the first chapter. trying to understand the political atmosphere in like the world at the moment would be really hard from a nihilistic perspective. It's really hard from any perspective. Like to this author who uses a pen name Val N, Tine, which is like love related. It makes me feel like they write romance novels on the side. I haven't looked at their author page on Amazon, but like the idea that, so I agree that it's good to suspend evaluation, like to say like that it's fair to say like a lot of the things that we value as a society don't actually affect us. Not to value anything at all is because it makes you sad. That seems kind of simplistic still. It's hard. I've done a couple of these readings, and I don't usually formulate opinions during them, but this book is like triggering me a bit. So I apologize for putting an opinion onto this, but I do encourage everyone who watches these as videos on YouTube or as clips or anything or you, Lord Fiber, to read the book if you are interested in what it's saying, and try to like ignore my timbre when dealing with it. They might change my mind by the time I'm like 4 chapters in. It is not possible to answer these questions, but neither is it necessary. We can live our lives knowing in our hearts what we value without asking our minds whether we were right or correct or justified in doing so. So stop asking, what is the meaning of life? No answer is coming. Okay, I can get behind that. See, like 5 sentences ago, I was very negative, but I can get behind the idea that, again, it's still like super individualistic. So it's like there's a lot of counters to this argument that they're pleading, but like in the terms of this like essay form, I like the idea that we can live our lives knowing in our hearts what we value, like understanding that we don't need others to define what's right and wrong for ourselves, and to try and take control of that. Because I mean, watching media online or like engaging with other philosophy in the world and like having people kind of put themselves onto you like I'm doing right here, is a really like hard thing to combat. And this person seems to be advocating, rather than saying that meaning is useless, it's saying derive meaning from yourself, and like understand where that's coming from. So if you understand the things that have influenced you in your life, like you were talking about, your relationship to existentialism, and like I'm sure you've been exposed to many other like philosophical kind of writings and theories that are all informing what you go through each day, then you can, like, once you can remove yourself from that, you can view meaning as something that you define and not something someone gives you. See if we can read something else. Yeah, no rush. I'll read your idea and like comment when we get into it.